Hello, and in today's video I'm going to walk and talk you through the key points from the ACCA SBL pre-seen information for the upcoming December 2023 examination. My name is James and welcome to my YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe so you get access to all of my free videos on here, and if you'd like access to actually the notes which we'll be going through in this is part 1 of the pre-seen materials, just click the link below in the description and you can download them there to follow them through. They're really going to help you, and everything highlighted is what I picked up when I went through these. But without any further ado, we're going to treat this like a lovely little podcast. Maybe you want to pop it on in the car, if you're in the gym. These are my notes that I took down, and I'm just going to walk and talk you through the first part, which was all about the sort of background information and how I would approach these notes. Well, first of all, it's all about, if I'm an ACCA student, I'm there going, there is so much information on here, how am I going to break it down? Well, the first key thing I've put down on here is actually use the contents page, the introduction and all the different areas that you can see down the side there. And I kid you not, if I was in your shoes treating myself to the ACCA SBL exam, I would have, as you can see where my mouse is, an Excel tab or pen and paper, whatever works best for you. Top of the Excel spreadsheet or on the pen and paper you'd have cloud service information, and anything important on there I would put into my own words night before the examination, on the day. I could refer to it directly, all the key points, which again we'll be talking about in this video series. So that's what I would put into place to manage these notes, and then to actually say, right, okay, how can I digest those a bit more easily? For the introduction, and you can see on the screen now, everything underlined and my little notes on the side are the key points I picked up. This is not a video to be predicting what is going to come up on the examination. There are hints and tips and things on there that we can make some estimates, should we say, based on, you've got the theories that are in the ACCA SBL syllabus. Mendelow's matrix, Porter's, Ansoff's on there, SWOT analysis, Pestle. These can all come up on there. It's understanding the information in the pre-seen information, and then anything on the exam day on the unseen information, using that and applying it to the given requirements. But what I picked up on in the introduction for you to note down is it all was really a sort of very good, sounds pretty nice, setting the scene, a well-known company, NCTech, cloud service company in a developed country, home to many other technological companies on there. So again, it all looks rosy-nosy, and founded by 3 software engineers, which are still actually at the organisation as well. So it's grown dramatically during its first 10 years of operation. So again, it all looks fantastic, doesn't it, on there? And the positions held, the Chief Executive Officer, Commercial Director, Operations Director, they're all on the board, and that's going to be coming up in one of the next videos. So it's later on in the document basically on there. So all the organisation founders are still there to this day. So again, you could look at that as a strength. They've got the intel, they have the drive to bring the business on further, or you could say, right, should we actually be looking to bring on new expertise? So it all looks pretty nice for NCTech so far, and as they said in the introduction, they're part of a cloud service industry information now where it gives you a little overview. It's all about data storage facilities, computing services on there, on the cloud-based system. Now, this is an accounting examination. You don't have to be a cloud expert about how these companies operate, but they love to test on the ACCA SBL exam things that are topical on there, and cloud-based services, whether you're working in practice or industry, is one of those areas that just getting yourself familiar with some of the terminology. As you can see on here, the cloud services industry in Finland has been established for more than a decade, so it's not a new industry. There's less risk associated with it, and it tells us on here continues to grow and meet the needs on there and demand of the market, particularly amongst the small and medium-sized enterprises and individuals. That's really key. As to NCTech on there, actually we'll come on to it later on, focusing on one particular area of the market. So both companies and individual professionals, definitely something for you to note down on there. We were then given some key cloud service statistics for 2002 for the period. So again, the adoption rate I've considered there, that globally, the percentage of client data stored on the cloud is 52% globally, 38% in Farland, where the company is based. So you've got to say to yourself straight away, okay, there is absolutely a gap there for more. There's potential room that the company NCTech could make use of on there and to actually improve its services. Because you can look at the annual revenue generated from providers, 8.3 in the whole of Farland, so don't get that mixed up for NCTech. And this is where $155 billion globally. The interesting thing on here is the top 10 cloud service companies' share of the market. So the top 10 in the world, 74%, there are lots more competitors in there, but within Farland, what they're getting at there, 85%, what it's saying there is the top 10 companies make up the majority of the market, where you may have a few, there's sort of 15% left. You have more dominant firms in Farland. You might have the odd niche company on there, but it's not the same globally. So again, increased competition you could talk about. The next thing for your notes on here is the cloud service models. Not to get confused by the different acronyms on there. As you can see, I've highlighted them. IaaS, PaaS or SaaS, whatever you want to refer to them. In the exam, you can just use the 4 little letters to save you a bit of time. But this is where we have 3 service models, and that sort of ranking I've got on the side, which again, if I was in your shoes, just to break it down to think, right, I've got to know these because they're probably going to throw it in the exam at some point. So my ranking is all about which is the best service or which is the more prestigious service on there. And we've also got to work out, which comes on later on, as to which service NCTech provide. So the infrastructure as a service is very basic, it's in-house, and I've ranked it 3rd. It's not the best of the bunch on there, pretty basic, bog standard. Then you've got the platform as a service, PaaS, and this is all services of IaaS, the infrastructure, but it's sort of just a little level up on there. It's got an addition of communication software. And finally, the highest rank, number 1 for your notes, software as a service, SaaS on there, more upgrades, more offered as a result, and therefore all services provided by PaaS, and the software applications are hosted centrally by a cloud-based service by clients. So it goes on to a few more details on the next slide on there, but it's just so that you can see that SaaS is a premium service, the most expensive on there, and they have a range and extent of services offered. The model determines the fees chargeable for it. So in other words, SaaS, because they offer more, is at a higher cost to the companies and to the clients which they charge, but you get more for your money. And this is where a nice little breakdown of the table on there, cost benefit analysis for all you visual learners like I am. IaaS, as you can see on the left hand side, that is where it's got the basics. Then you have the slightly upgrade of PaaS, which is more about the communication, the operating systems. And then finally the SaaS, as we said, ranked number 1, the data software applications is the key feature, which they're willing to pay more at a premium service. Now coming on to this, because you then got to link up the cloud service delivery on there with those cloud service models. And this is where we have a public cloud service delivery, which is on a sort of pay-as-you-go basis. Again, I'm trying to rank it, put it down in your notes. It's the least expensive. It's number 3 on there for the cheapest. It's pay-as-you-go, bog standard on there. Again, for your notes, we're going to come on to it because it's noted in one sentence, which do NCTech on there, NCTech on there, refer to it as. Then we've got for the option number 2, private cloud provides computing infrastructure for exclusive use, more complex, large businesses, so not individuals. That is where, in terms of expense, that is the most expensive on there. And thirdly, we have the hybrid cloud, so a combination of both public and private. More expensive than the public cloud, but it is significantly cheaper than the private cloud. So that is fundamental for you to get down in your notes. Number 1 expensive, the private cloud. Number 2 expensive, hybrid cloud. And number 3 expensive, which is the cheapest, the public cloud on there for your notes. But I've only underlined the key tips, the key areas that they've highlighted on there for you. Before we come on to the second part, I just want to scroll down. Again, I'm coming back to these in the second part of the sort of podcasty bit, what we're going on to. But I've just mentioned it on there as to, well, what is it actually referring to when I go, well, why is it important to know which one the NCTech use on here? So this is where, we're going to come on to this in a later recording, but note it down on here. So here is the key bit where my mouse is. So, and the required networking resources necessary to provide the IaaS service model, NCTech has never offered PaaS or a SaaS service model. So in other words, NCTech actually offer the least complex and expensive option out of the three. NCTech operates, as you can see where my mouse is, a public cloud services company. So coming onto it on there, for your notes on there, and again, I'll even show you it on here, public on there for the top one. That was number one, as we touched on. It's the least expensive, a pay-as-you-go basis, but the key thing there was they've never offered PaaS and they've never offered SaaS on there. So very key for you to note down, and again, we'll touch on that in a future podcast, because that is going to now nicely lead us on to, we've gone through the basics of what the company does, how they operate, the services they provide, and you can see now we're going to be touching on the benefits of the cloud services system to their clients in episode number 2. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video, the first of the one we're doing. Be sure to give it a like as well. Check out the details in the description of this video so you can download the notes. And of course, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any other resources to help you pass your SBL exam. So I've left the second part of the video on the screen now. Click it, it's going to take you onto there, and we're going to get stuck into the benefits of the cloud service systems. So see you soon. Thank you very much.